Analyze the request. Role: lead market analyst for a financial education channel. Format: complete, broadcast quality video script. Date: August 13th, 2026. Live prices: must use exact numbers provided. S&P 500, 77.48, Bitcoin, 63500, Gold, 44.63, VIX, 14.6, etc. News headlines: must reference specific 2025 to 2026 headlines. No COVID/2020/ etc. Critical constraints: never use S&P below 6,000 or above 10,000. Never mention COVID, 2020, 2018, 2008, pre-2024 events. Reference only 2025 to 2026 events. Never invent historical statistics. Historically, this precedes X within N sessions, etc. Cite only explicit data parallels or frame as questions. Never write raw market symbols, the VIX, etc. Always say the VIX, the 10-year yield, etc. Paraphrase all context. Never copy verbatim from the provided data sections. Vary macro context angles: U.S.-China trade, dollar, oil, yield curve, geopolitical, earnings, FOMC only if within 30 days. Topic: every market is moving. Here's what it all means. Context: provided macro snapshot, sector performance, top gainers/losers, crypto, forex, commodities, bonds, correlations, regime, asset-specific signals, predictive analysis. Deep asset intelligence: must use for deep dive segments, reference peer rankings, supply chain, macro events, options signals, specific news, actionable context. Institutional grade analysis: must use for sophisticated deep dive, regime analysis, playbooks, trade ideas, risk scenarios, contrarian view, key price levels. Fred macro context: not fully specified, but likely just background. 2 lenses on today's data section. 2 analyses, macro cycle and contrarian. 2 to 3 sentences each. Must reference specific numbers, no labels/headers. Write as through a value lens, etc. Today's unique insight: must feature prominently. Delivery style: the educator. Pick single most important concept. Teach through live numbers. Viewer leave smarter. Banned phrases list: long. Must avoid completely. Key numbers to use exact. S&P 7,748 plus 0.26%. Bitcoin 63,500 plus 0.14%. Gold 44.63 minus 0.10%. VIX 14.6 minus 4.78%. Oil WTI 82.08 minus 1.43%. DXY 100.009 minus 0%. 10 yield 4.682 menos 0.04%. 12 yield 3.707 menos 0.62%. News headlines to reference. Hormuz remains blocked. Iran disputes Trump claims as traffic sinks to near 3-month lows. South Korea's Kospi swings from bear to bull market territory in just over a month on AI trade. This Chinese firm has topped Micron and Kioxia in shipments of crucial NAND memory chips. Inside India newsletter: why global funds are flocking to gift city in Modi's home state. Regime: neutral/mixed signals from data. Asset-specific signals provided in detail. Institutional analysis provided with regime risk on, 67% confidence. Playbooks, trade ideas, scenarios, etc. Wait, there's a conflict. The data says market regime, neutral/mixed signals, but the institutional analysis section says market regime. Risk on, 67% confidence. I need to handle this carefully. The instructions say, vary your macro context. Rotate through these angles. Don't always use FOMC. And topic: every market is moving. Here's what it all means. The institutional analysis section is provided as use this for the sophisticated deep dive sections. It has its own regime. I should probably integrate both or follow the institutional analysis as the deeper layer. but the top-level regime from the snapshot is neutral/mixed. I'll likely start with the neutral/mixed from the live data context, then transition into the institutional playbooks, noting the contradiction or the shift. But the rules say, never invent historical statistics. Cite only historical parallels explicitly present in the data provided. The institutional section gives a historical parallel, similar to early 2023 rally as rate hike fears eased. That's 2023, which is before 2024. Wait, 2023 is before 2024, but the rules say reference only events from 2025 to 2026. The early 2023 reference might violate that. I need to check. Never mention COVID, 2020, 2018, 2008, or any event before 2024. So 2023 is before 2024, so I cannot reference 2023 events. I must avoid that. The institutional section says historical parallel, similar to early 2023 rally as rate hike fears eased. I'll have to paraphrase or avoid that specific parallel, or frame it carefully without violating the rule. Maybe I can say, similar to post-Fed pivot dynamics observed in recent quarters, but must not name 2023. I'll need to be careful. Actually, reread. Reference only events from 2025 to 2026, and never mention COVID, 2020, 2018, 2008, or any event before 2024. So 2023 is out. I'll avoid the 2023 parallel or very generically allude to recent regime shifts without dating it. Another constraint, never write raw market symbols. The VIX, the 10-year Treasury yield, gold, oil. Always say the VIX, the 10-year yield, gold, oil. This script is read aloud. Okay, paraphrase all context. The data sections below contain pre-written analysis sentences. Never copy them verbatim. Extract the numbers and the logic, then express every insight in your own words in today's delivery style. Okay, I'll rewrite everything. Regime, neutral/mixed signals. Use exact figures from the live market data section. Paraphrase, don't copy verbatim. Explain why each asset is moving. Use correlation signals. Give 52-week context. Translate to viewer impact. Every claim backed by specific number from data. Deep asset intelligence sections, MBIS, Q&T, EROC, MOS, FRVO, LQDA, BTC, need to reference but paraphrase. Institutional grade analysis section. Two lenses on today's data section, macro cycle lens and contrarian lens. Today's unique insight. Delivery style, the educator. Banned phrases list long, must avoid. Structure the script carefully. It needs to be broadcast quality, read aloud, flow naturally, hit all the data points without violating constraints. Deconstruct constraints and planning. Date/price constraints. S&P 7748 plus 0.26%. Bitcoin 63500 plus 0.14%. Gold 4463 minus 0.10%. VIX 14.6 minus 4.78%. Must use these exact numbers. No pre-2024 events. Only 2025 to 2026. The news headlines are all 2026 context. Hormuz blockage, Korea Kospi, Chinese NAND firm, India Gift City. I'll reference these naturally. No raw symbols. Say the VIX, the 10-year yield, gold, oil. Avoid the VIX, etc. No invented historical stats. If I don't have the stat, frame as a question to watch, not a fact. The data has correlations I can reference actual numbers from, but must not say historically X happens Y% of the time unless it's explicitly in the provided data. The cross-asset correlations table has specific today's signals. I can reference those as today's signal, not historically. No banned phrases. Long list. Must be very careful. I'll draft keeping them in mind, then filter. Macro context angles. Rotate through U.S.-China trade. $/Forex. Oil. Yield curve. Geopolitical. Earnings. FOMC. Check if within 30 days. No FOMC event listed in data, so do not mention it. The educator style. Pick single most important concept. Teach through live numbers. I'll focus on the correlation breakdown between assets, and individual analysis matters more than macro calls as the key teaching point, woven through the data. Two lenses section, macro cycle lens and contrarian lens, 2 to 3 sentences each, must reference specific numbers from today's data. No labels barra diagonales. Actually, the rules say weave them into the narration naturally. No labels, no headers. But the section title is Two Lenses on Today's Data. Include once in the long-form script. I'll weave them in without lens 1/lens 2 labels, or maybe use subtle phrasing. Actually, reread. These are your analyses written in the style of each school of thought. Never present them as quotes or statements from the named investors. Instead, write through a value lens, or a liquidity-focused manager would note. And each lens gets 2 to 3 sentences and must reference a specific number from today's data. Weave them into the narration naturally. No labels, no headers. I'll integrate them as part of the flow, maybe as 2 thematic paragraphs without explicit macro cycle lens headers or with very subtle transition. I'll make sure each references a specific number, e.g., VIX 14.6, S&P 77.48, gold 44.63, correlation signals. Today's unique insight. Mixed signals suggest indecision. In neutral regimes, the next catalyst is key. Watch Fed speakers, CPI data, and earnings revisions. Correlation between assets breaks down. Individual analysis matters more than macro calls. Must feature prominently. Script structure. I'll organize into logical segments. Opening/regime. Live data overview. Deep asset highlights. Select key ones, not all. Correlation and cross-asset moves. The educator core concept. 2 lenses. Trade/viewer impact. Wrap. Let's map the data points I must include exactly. S&P 500, 7,748, plus 0.26% today. Bitcoin, 63,500, plus 0.14% today. Gold, 44.63, minus 0.10% today. VIX, 14.6, minus 4.78% today. Oil, WTI, 82.08, minus 1.43% today. 10Y yield, 4.682, minus 0.04% today. DXY, 100.009, minus 0% today. NASDAQ, 26588. This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial advice. Always consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions.